A beautiful summer night here in Montreal, Kate, as we get ready for this Thursday nighter between the Elks and the Alouettes. The last time Edmonton was here, nearly 3 years ago, Trevor Harris was their quarterback, and he led them to victory in a playoff game. And by the way, the guy that was a fixture in Edmonton football for years, at that point in time, Danny Machocha was a coach with college, the Montreal Carabin, Glenn Suter, leading them to a Vanier Cup final appearance. A lot of change for both of these teams recently, too. The coaching change in Montreal, but also a quarterback change for the Elks. Nick Arbuckle out, traded to Ottawa, and now it's Taylor Cornelius.
Week 6 in the Canadian Football League. This is the 6th game for Edmonton and the 3rd starting quarterback. So yes, it will be Taylor Cornelius. He is 1-7 as a starter. That win against the Toronto Argonauts at the end of last season. And he will go against a former teammate in Trevor Harris. Danny Machocha will be on the sideline. The GM moves down after the firing of Kahari Jones. So it will be Trevor Harris. As you mentioned, Rod, started in Edmonton last year, is now the starter in Montreal.
Those two remain friends, and Cornelius had said Trevor Harris taught him a lot. This guy's been a big story. Chandler Worthy got cut by the Argos, came to Montreal. In his last 2 games, he has returned to kickoff for a touchdown. The last game here, it was on the opening kickoff against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The Alouettes come in at 1-3. Their last game, they had a bye last week. They lost in Mosaic, and Danny Machocha, the GM, fired Kahari Jones and defensive coordinator Baron Miles, and he is back as a head coach in the CFL for this season only, according to Machocha. It's Chandler Worthy. Can he do it again? Let's see what he does as he gets across the 25 over the 30, and a flag is out as he is taken out of bounds. So Montreal ball, perhaps a little further back, pending the outcome of that flag for Trevor Harris to come on. And what a story has said Worthy has been.
During the return, pendant le retour, retenu holding, Montreal number 34, numéro 34. Penalty diverge, it's going to be first down for Montreal.
Take a look at Trevor Harris's numbers as a starter here in Montreal this season. 1-1, 730 yards passing. Wants to change that. Touchdown interception ratio was real good here against Saskatchewan. Did not throw an interception in that one.
Has thrown 1 touchdown pass since taking over for Vernon Adams on this field to Keon Julian Grant 3 weeks ago. Faking the handoff on first down, throwing off to his right end. The closest receiver, Eugene Lewis, with Ed Gainey on him, but it's incomplete as we take a look at the Alouette offense, brought to you by Expedia.
Christian Matt is the leader in that offensive line. 10 years in the Canadian Football League, all with the Montreal Alouettes. And you look in the receiving corps, Gino Lewis got to get the ball a lot more. I mean, in that last game, the loss for Montreal, he targeted a handful of times. Gino Lewis got to get involved in this offense. He's the playmaker.
The Alouettes with the ball deep in their zone at the 10. This is a 2nd and 10. Little shuffle inside. It falls incomplete. It's Walter Fletcher, formerly of Edmonton, the intended target there, the starting running back for the Alouettes. So 3rd down, and the Owls are going to have to punt it away from their end zone.
Yeah, not the start they wanted here in front of their home crowd, that's for sure. Execution not there. You mentioned Walter Fletcher starting for Jeshurun Antwi, and former Elks tailback will drop there. That's an incomplete pass, by the way, going forward, even if it's underhand.
So 3rd and 10, Joseph Zima standing in the Alouette end zone. Edmonton should get the ball with good field position. Back to take it is Charles Nelson. And he gets it inside the Montreal 40. So yes, indeed, for Taylor Cornelius and that Edmonton offense, a good place to start around the 38-yard line. Cornelius getting 8 starts last year, his first in the CFL.
8 starts last year. Mentioned that 1 win. It was a real defensive struggle in the last game of the regular season against the Argos at BMO Field. 13-7 was the final. Completed less than 50%. The good news for Elks fans, though, is that he's got a big arm. Big arm. So if you're a receiver for Taylor Cornelius, you run your routes and really accelerate at the top of them. He can get you the ball anywhere on the field.
Ball's at the Alouette 39, 1st and 10. Elks first possession. Cornelius, little roll out to the right, throws it that way, and that was intended for Kenny Lawler, and a flag comes out.
Harold Lamanna was on coverage from that linebacker spot. Or excuse me, was it Mike Jones on the out?
Accidental pass interference. Passe interférence de façon accidentelle. Montréal numéro 8, c'est une pénalité diverge, 10-yard penalty, and it's a first down for Edmonton.
Still PI, but accidental PI.
Yeah, that just usually it means they tripped up, got their feet tangled, and
so that goes to Mike Jones. There are two Mike Jones of this game. A receiver for the Elks as well. 1st and 10 from the 29. Handing off this time. Sherman Beatty, who's been their starting running back in the last 3 weeks since the injury to James Wilder.
yeah, it's gonna be the challenge for Edmonton. When I did the charts, when we did Edmonton, I think it was week 1 or 2, and looked at the chart now. David Baird, one of the consistent guys up front in the offensive line. He's going to be doubling with his guards on Armando Sewell tonight. He's back in the lineup. Manny Arsenault, their leading receiver in yardage, even though the #1 targeted receiver has been Kenny Lawler.
2nd and 9, the 1-yard gain by Beatty. In striking distance, Cornelius off to the right again, and it completes it. Darrell Walker has it, and it's inside the 20, a first down. Elks on the move in the score zone.
He targeted 29 times. This is target number 30 for 87, and he's only caught 18 of them. So again, both these guys, dynamic receivers, and I heard the panel talk about trying to get the ball to Kenny Lawler for a young quarterback and Taylor Cornelius. Just distribute it like a point guard to two real talented receivers.
19th catch in the season for Darrell Walker. Looking for more production from him. Remember, they do have Lawler and Manny Arsenault and Beatty with the ball. They tried to set up a draw, and the Alouettes would have none of it. Lost yardage. Nick Usher, former Edmonton player, in there on the tackle.
Missed last game for Montreal, but Armando Sewell back in the middle. We showed you a little bit of why he has been so dominant in his 11-year career in the pregame show. Tyrell Richards will start at middle linebacker because Trey Watson, the former starting middle linebacker for Montreal, is now in Edmonton. And there's a leader in defensive plays, Wesley Sutton, out of the secondary, which is interesting because it's hard to lead in defensive plays when you're playing DB way back there.
There was lost yardage on that first down attempt, and then the flags came out before the snap of the ball.
Offside, hors-jeu. Montreal, number 44, number 44. 5-yard penalty, penalty de Saint-Verge. It's still 2nd down.
So they had lost 4 on the first down, and then, of course, they gained 5 on that offside penalty, so it'll be a 2nd and 9. Talk about the many connections, Glenn. Played for Edmonton before, now with Montreal, the other way around. There's a lot of that tonight.
Bunch of that tonight, absolutely. Including the head coach, Danny Machocha, former head coach in Edmonton.
2nd and 9, off to the left and completing it. Emmanuel Arsenault gets it down to the 5, and it'll be 1st and goal for the Elks. Arsenault back in the CFL and making the most of this chance.
Well, you can see the natural bubble that is what that Manny Arsenault recognizes is going to take advantage of. The DBs are going to back off. He's got outside leverage from that linebacker spot, so all he has to do is present himself as a big target. As I mentioned, Edmonton's leading receiver at 34 years old.
Played arena football in Frisco, Texas, near his home in 2021. Wanted to get back. 1st and goal at the Montreal 5. 116 straight games with a catch for Arsenault. And there's Sherman Beatty breaking through a hole and breaking into the end zone for the touchdown Elks and the early lead here in Montreal.
Yeah, Kyle Loxley was on the depth chart and will play receiver for Edmonton tonight. But he was in there to bring a new look to the offense at quarterback, and that sort of speed option or RPO type of offense that you can run. So that's Kyle Loxley in a quarterback. Now he could fake that, pull it, and get to the edge, but he saw that edge pressure from Montreal coming at him, and he gave it to the inside handoff to Beatty, and he scores pretty much untouched.
First CFL touchdown for Sherman Beatty. He came out of Tulane. As said, to step in for James Wilder. Finds the end zone, and the point after for Sergio Castillo is wide right from his perspective. So they get the touchdown. They don't get the point after. Castillo, and That's the second point after he has missed in 2022. But a good start early on for the Elks. Defense stands up a drive for the Elks on their first possession. Got set up with great field position, and they take it in to lead it 6-0. Matt Mengel on the kickoff, and it is Chandler Worthy again taking it inside the Montreal 15. The Alouettes in an early hole, breaks a tackle, flag is down again as he gets it up to about the 37 of Montreal.
During the return, holding Montreal, number 83. Retenu Montréal, numéro 83. Penalty diverge. Ça va être premier essai.
Let's go back to the touchdown from Beatty and look at the blocking up front, because great down blocks here, here, and here. An unbalanced line with an extra offensive lineman. There's going to be great down blocks, and then a kick out. You see Steven Nelson with the kick out, Martez Ivey and Mark Corte on the great down blocks, and that's just a B-gap run that Beatty said, wow, untouched, come and celebrate.
So the Alouettes start again. Short pass to Hergy Mayala, and just picks up a couple of yards. First completion for Trevor Harris early in this game.
Thomas Costigan, when you look at the defense up front, and their front seven is really sort of the mainstay up there. And again, looking at the charts, he's the only guy that was in the early part of the season on that D-line. Trey Watson, we're going to watch him. I think he's going to be around the ball all night long. He's just released from Montreal for those off-field discussions in the locker room, and Ed Gainey is their veteran. 18 defensive tackles for Gainey. That is second on his team. Now he's still looking for his first pick.
No gain on that first down, so it's a 2nd and 10. The coverage is there, but the flag is coming out. Keon Julian Grant, the intended receiver, and the one who appears to be flagged is Jawan Taylor.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question here. Jawan Taylor looked like he was right on the back of Julian Grant well before the ball arrived.
Pass interference, interférence contre la passe. Edmonton, number 18, numéro 18. It's a 10-yard penalty, and it makes it a first down.
First down for the Alouettes, coming by penalty. Chris Jones not liking it, as you could see, but it gets up across their 25 to the 27, and a first down. One of the newcomers on that Edmonton defense this year, Jawan Taylor. Handing off Walter Fletcher, and not much there. And Suits, you talked about him, the ex-Alouette Trey Watson making his debut for Edmonton after being surprisingly let go last week.
Yeah, he showed flashes, didn't he? And when you talk about how Walter Fletcher played as an Elks starting tailback, and he and Watson will go head-to-head tonight. I know Trey Watson is motivated. Have to be after being released by the Alouettes, and didn't really get all the details as to what was said or what exactly happened. But
2nd and 8 from the 29. Deep ball. Harris looking. It's too far for Julian Grant. Ed Gainey was there, and so too was Malik Saunier. So it sets up a 3rd and 8, and the punting unit is coming back on.
Yeah, go route out here. Little waggle inside so he can get outside leverage, and then just takes off. And Julian Grant is open. He's got a step. Going down the numbers, and just missed. You could see he had a 2 or 3 yard step on the DB in chase.
So Zima to punt it away again inside the 20. Nelson and Gainey are back, and it's Nelson who will take it right around the Edmonton 30. The flag comes out there, and getting up to around the 40. Pending the flag. Back comes Cornelius. He and the Elks have a 6-0 lead. Must be a strange feeling, but he felt he needed to make that coaching change.
Yeah, former Grey Cup champion as a head coach.
With Edmonton, of all teams facing, as he steps back down to the sidelines, the Elks with the lead. And here's a double pass try here. Kyle Loxley nearly had it completed into the hands of Kenny Lawler. Loxley is a quarterback who is playing slot back, so they had 2 QBs on the field. Not surprising at some point they would try this, and it nearly worked. but it falls incomplete.
Yeah, and I love it. I mean, this is a little bit of offensive innovation with the new rule change coming into this year, that you can have two quarterbacks playing at the same time on offense, and you could do this double pass. You know, this is something that, especially when you have an athletic quarterback that could play a receiver like Kyle Oxley, boy, it's tough to defend against. Waller was there.
Nearly had a huge play. Instead, it's 2nd and 10, Cornelius. And throws it high for Mike Jones, way high and out of bounds. So just like that, near big play, and it's a 2-and-out for the Elks.
And just back to Danny Machocha, and I know there was one narrative throughout the change, and Kahari Jones, who is such a well-liked head coach, especially by his teammates for sure, but everybody across the league. It's been a really tough time for Danny Machocha, and this narrative that he thought, I want to coach again, is just not true. It just hasn't been true. It wasn't true. He's going to make this change because he went back to last year and saw that this was a trend that was forming in Montreal, but it wasn't because he wants to coach again. He won't be coaching next year, he has told us.
He made that very clear. Worthy on the return after the punt by Matt Mengel. Reverses his field, but he can't get around Scott Hutter, who takes him down at the Montreal 50. Alouettes have the ball. First quarter in Montreal, but they are trailing Edmonton by 6. The game. Opening kickoff, Worthy takes it all the way against the Riders. And then the next week at Mosaic, a little later in the first half, he does it again, joining Elite Company, one of the very few to have 2 kickoffs return 4 touchdowns. Looking for history tonight as we go to John Liu.
Yeah, Rod, and returning kickoffs for touchdowns in back-to-back games is actually familiar territory for Chandler Worthy, who pulled off the feat in his senior year at Troy University in Alabama in 2014. Now, Worthy says that he flashed back to that memory after the Owls' last game in Regina, when he tied the near 69-year-old record set by Edmonton's Billy Vessels. And now, Worthy didn't know that the record was that old. His reaction was wow when he found out when it had actually been set. He said that in the early part of this week, he was pretty calm, or he was pretty worked up, but he got calmer as the week progressed. And coming into tonight's game, he says that if it happens, it'll happen. He's not going to try to force that 3rd straight kickoff return for TD, guys.
It really is a remarkable story, John. And yeah, Elite Company, Chandler Worthy, Billy Vessels, the only to do it in the CFL in back-to-back weeks. What a time he's had in Montreal.
Well, if he gets one tonight,
yeah,
no one in the history of the over 100-year history of our league has done that.
Only 10 have had 2 in a season. Of course, he's one of them. There was a catch by Gino Lewis to set this up. Walter Fletcher breaks tackle, still going inside the 20. Fletcher is finally taken down, and the biggest play for the Alouettes in this game, a gain of 42 yards.
Cut back lane for Walter Fletcher to get this crowd involved after a slow start to the offense, as Fletcher's going to run back towards the middle after that backside cut, and then away he goes into the secondary in this 3rd level. That's first big play again. Get the fans involved in this game after a couple of 2-and-outs.
Former Edmonton Elk Walter Fletcher, and a 1st and goal right at the 10 for the Alouettes. In business here at home, looking to at least tie it or go ahead. Fletcher, the ball carrier again, as he picks up another few yards. Call it 4, and a 2nd and goal from the 6. His 2nd year at a Ball State.
Substitution, extra receivers come in, and Walter Fletcher heads to the sideline for this 2nd down play. Scoring touchdowns been an issue for Montreal.
Also went to Edinburgh College as Trevor Harris, getting him to Edmonton to start his CFL career. It's Harris now. Malik Tyne puts the heat on him. And that was back at around the 10, so it's going to set up a 3rd and goal and likely a field goal try for David Cote to get the Alouettes on the board.
Yeah, I wonder about just the decision here. Trevor Harris, you know, Chris Jones is known for sending a ton of pressure, especially at this part of the field, because you're down backed up against your own goal line. You want to get after the quarterback quickly, but that was just 3 men. They dropped the 4th. And it's 5-on-3, and Trevor Harris had more time if he widened himself a little bit, but felt that pressure and tried to step up and see if he could run.
Be a 19-yard field goal try for David Cote to cut Edmonton's lead in half. He does that. Fouls on the board late in the first quarter, but still Taylor Cornelius getting his first start of the season at QB for the Elks, back on the field. 2 remaining unbeatens. Bo Levi Mitchell in the 4-0 Stamps. Zach Collaros in the 5-0 Bombers, who certainly made a statement. You were there last week at BC Place.
One of the best games I think that Zach has played. I mean, he's played a lot of great ones, but wow, was he good in BC.
Stamps Bombers TSN tomorrow night. So it's 6-3 now after the Cote field goal. So back comes Edmonton, and a gain of 5 for Sherman Beatty, who has the Elks touchdown in this game.
Let's take a look at Tyrell Richards in the middle now playing because Trey Watson is now in Edmonton. Of course, the first overall pick from Montreal this year, and gets his chance now to start, become the leader of that defense. Usually that middle linebacker is. Brampton, Ontario. And for his size, at about 220 pounds, to run a 4.6 in the 40 in the combine, that's running.
Some pressure coming, flushes Cornelius, little pump fake, and then he takes off. He gets it to the 50. Looks like he does have enough for a first down for Edmonton, getting closer to midfield.
Now, Oklahoma State product is 6'5", so when you take a look at Taylor Cornelius, you think, well, he's a pocket guy. He's going to definitely stand there in the pocket. And you know, as Dave Naylor mentioned in the pregame show, not many quarterbacks in the CFL have been over 6'4" and been successful. I don't think any have, but Taylor Cornelius can run. That one touchdown in his win for Edmonton last year against Toronto, he ran for a touchdown.
A couple of fakes there as he goes back and gets taken down, just gets it away as he was about to be tackled. So incomplete, barely getting it away. Had a few tricks as he stepped back, but he couldn't find an open receiver, and a flag does come down downfield.
Downfield will be illegal contact.
Illegal contact, contact illégal. Montreal number 26, numéro 26. Penalty diverge, 10-yard penalty, makes it a first down for Edmonton.
Tyrese Beverett came over from Hamilton this past offseason, signing on with the Alouettes, but that extends the drive for the Elks. Up in the new left hash for Edmonton, with the ball at the Montreal 50, just inside, and a 1st and 10. Handing off Beatty. Drives for close to 5 more yards on this Edmonton drive. Terrell Richards was a star with Syracuse. Glenn talked about first overall pick in 2022, but you see the numbers that he racked up with the Orange, and yeah, trusted to be the starting middle linebacker now after they let Trey Watson go.
And maybe accelerated to get to that starting spot a little bit because of the circumstances, but pure linebacker, man, he can run, so get him in there.
2nd and 5 after the game by Beatty.
Here he goes.
Nick Usher chasing him down. Cornelius drops it off for Ante Milanovic-Litre, but it's a bit too far, and it falls to the turf. 3rd down.
Hey, man, I told you about his speed. He's 4.6 in that combine. Now, 4.6, you know, you hear that and you think, well, that's not really funny. The fastest guys are 4.4, but watch Richards run this down now. He's got secondary contained, so he's flying, and he goes by his teammate, defensive back, to get to Taylor Cornelius. I mean, that's some great speed in tracking down Cornelius, running by all pursuit angles.
Certainly forced the issue there for Cornelius, who had to get rid of it. Goes incomplete. Worthy back for this return, but it'll be nowhere near him, as it's considerably upfield.
So Trey Watson, who got off to a great start for Montreal as their starting middle linebacker, had the incident. Now, maybe you heard more details than I heard. There wasn't a lot of details after the loss as to what he said in the locker room or who he was talking to, and
some conversations with players and coaches, though, but they were very vague on what happened.
Yeah, and turned out that Danny Machocha and at the time Kahari Jones decided to part ways with Trey Watson. Picked up immediately by Edmonton.
Little play action fake as it is tossed off there to Jake Winicky with his first catch of this game in what's been a quiet season for TD Jake so far. No TDs yet, but a good gain on first down. It'll be second and short.
Yeah, going a little play action there, trying to get Trey Watson to get close to the line of scrimmage so he can throw it behind him as this game goes on. But you know, I thought he got off to a great sort of all-star level type of season, and then to end up in Edmonton, didn't take long for him to sign with the Elks. And you think he'd be motivated. It doesn't happen very often where you play that your former team like right away, the very next game.
Dominic Davis in for short yardage and has enough, and just second in inches to move the sticks, and a first down for the Alouettes on the final play of the first quarter. And a good start for Edmonton on their first possession, taking it down, getting the Sherman Beatty touchdown. Montreal answering with a field goal, close and low scoring. Thursday night football. Edmonton leads by 3 after 1. Too, these offenses, Glenn, are still a work in progress, and the defense has had the better of the day so far.
Yeah, well, before we start, going down the road of what's wrong with the offenses, they're not playing well, can we just say that the defenses are winning? And you're allowed to win on defense too. And this happens sometimes, especially early in games. The defense just flying to the ball. That's what we're seeing from both linebackers. Both have been a story tonight. The front sevens are controlling the line of scrimmage on defense, both teams, and that's why the offenses are out to a slow start.
To a slow start because the defenses are so good.
Defenses are winning.
What do you think of the double pass try, by the way?
I love it. I love it. This is a new rule in the CFL. You can play with 2 quarterbacks on the field, and I know that all the teams that especially that have a second athletic quarterback, they're all trying to figure out how they can work that in.
Another deep try for Geno Lewis from Trevor Harris, and that one falls incomplete.
Trevor Harris didn't need many yards to pass Conrad Holloway, and has already tonight to number 20 all-time.
Conrad is a Hall of Famer with both. He started with the Ottawa Rough Riders and then went to the Argos.
Well, when I asked Danny Machocha about Trevor Harris or Vernon Adams, and Trevor Harris is a veteran quarterback, thrown for over 4,000 yards, has led a team to a Grey Cup appearance.
Big completion, Hergy Mayala, just over midfield, and a first down for the Alouettes at the start of the second quarter. Gain of 21, Montreal.
And that's the type of throw he's capable of, and a lot of this comes from pre-snap read, where this is a quarterback, real cerebral, who wants to read the defense, make sure he knows where to throw it before he even gets the ball in his hands. Very similar to the guy calling the plays tonight, Anthony Calvillo, and his 79,000 yards passing. Yeah,
Trevor's got a ways to go, right?
So does everybody.
Yeah, I was going to say that number gets awfully high. The standard AC set. Here's Fletcher going off tackle left, and another good carry for him. He had a big gain, but 6 or 7 yards. He had a big gain in the first quarter for Montreal.
I think this is the right decision. They asked Danny Machocha about, because Danny used to be a play caller as well, an offensive coordinator, but he hasn't been he's been the GM and not in a lot of offensive meetings. Anthony Calvillo has, and then some question, well, early in his career, Anthony Calvillo wasn't great at the play calling, or at least some people categorized it that way, but that was a long time ago. He's evolved since then. He's had different opportunities in college and to call.
Montreal had 13 players in the huddle. Montréal avait 13 joueurs dans le caucus.
Clearly not happy with that mistake.
Still second down.
But, that's a personnel issue, and now he's got his play chart. And again, 2 quarterbacks in Trevor Harris and Anthony Calvillo. They're very similar in styles. Both like to throw from the pocket. Both like to really pride themselves on that pre-snap read ability to know where you want to go with the ball. At least the area on the field that you want to go with the ball, even before you get it in your hands.
One of the changes Danny Machocha announced. as he took over as head coach that Anthony Calvillo would be calling the plays. So at the 51, penalized for too many men in the huddle before they got that play out. That one is complete too. Beautifully placed to Gino Lewis. That's with Malik Saunier covering him like a blanket, but Harris managed to thread it through for another Alouette first down.
Yeah, Saunier's in good position here, but this is Gino Lewis, and this is the one-on-one that Trevor Harris knew he was going to before he got the ball in this shotgun. He put 4 receivers to the field and just left Gino Lewis by himself with the one-on-one on the backside, and he knew before he got the ball that's where he was going with it.
Gain of 17 down to the Edmonton 33. Montreal on the move, trailing by 3 here in the second quarter. Jeshrin Antwi in at running back. Swinging it out to Eugene Lewis inside the 30, and he is taken down by his ex-teammate Trey Watson.
So basically at the turn, Anthony Calvillo gets with Trevor Harris, and they discuss what kind of adjustments can we make here because the defenses are winning. And they both probably looked at each other and went, how about 87?
See if we can get the ball in his hands.
Let's get 87 involved. Slant route over the middle, and then that little swing pass on the slot back screen.
4th in the CFL and receiving yards coming into this game. 3rd overall last year. That's a gain of 5. 2nd and 5. Harris with time again. Wide open. That's Reggie White inside the 10. It'll be a 1st and goal, Montreal.
Little adjustments, got Gino Lewis as your decoy out there and almost like a stack formation, and then bring Reggie White up the field and that's great speed in the route running to turn Tristan Deku, get him out of his back pedal, and then come back on the curl. All of a sudden the offense got some traction.
Got some great separation there on that sudden turn by Reggie White. 1st and goal at the Edmonton 6. Trying to take the lead for the first time in this game. Dumps it off. Tyson Philpott, touchdown. Tyson Philpott with the first touchdown of his career. And the rookie does indeed give the Alouettes their first lead in this game.
Shows some flashes, shows some speed, played on the teams, and Tyson Philpott with his change motion out leverages to the outside the defenders for the Elks and walks in. Congrats on touchdown number 1. I think there'll be many. That's a bold prediction. I think Tyson Philpott, there'll be many. Both Philpott brothers.
I was just going to say some for his brother Jalen of Calgary as well. He won the Vanier Cup with the University of Calgary at the expense of Montreal head coach Danny Machocha. And now they are on the same team, and Trevor Harris fired up on that too, that Tyson Philpott has his first CFL touchdown. So he gets that one ahead of Jalen, but for the Twins, as you say, should be long careers for both of them.
Yeah, knock on wood, they stay healthy. 21 years old, getting that first one. You know, again, earning his stripes early in the season on the team. Showed some flashes there with some great returns. And change motion froze the defense. Got Philpott out in the flat.
10 plays, 86 yards, and just over 4.5 minutes for the Montreal Alouettes. Slow start.
Y'all thought it was twins? There's really 3 of us. Come on now. We're the triplets.
And the other one doesn't have a touchdown, so.
Hergy Mayala chiming in there too, the ex-Stampeder, and Zach Coe from the defensive line of Edmonton is slow to get off the field.
We're just getting started. Let's go.
Nick Coe, excuse me. Among the many new faces too is Chris Jones, because of injuries, had to rotate so many different players on that defense.
Yeah, and they played a good first quarter. Chris Jones doesn't like that drive from Montreal. Defensive specialist. An innovator, I really think. I know that's Elks fans are saying, wait a minute, the Owls just drove the field and scored.
David Cote has the point after. Montreal has the 4-point lead. Danny Machocha back at a CFL sideline as a head coach. Sees his Owls move in front. Thursday Night Football presented by 7-Eleven.
Back to the touchdown, and when you start the drive with 87, Geno Lewis, he's going to bring some attention defensively with him. Tyson Philpott was the tight end, goes the opposite direction. Watch 81 come from that tight end spot, back off the line with everyone chasing 87. He shoots out the opposite side and walks into the end zone.
And gives Montreal their first lead of this game with Charles Nelson back to take it on the Cote kickoff. And he gets taken down, and a flag comes out on that tackle just across the Edmonton 30. Appears it'll be against the Alouettes.
Well, they have had a flag on a lot of their returns and a lot of their special teams so far tonight. They got and the ones that I've seen, even though we at times haven't shown you, have been penalties. They've been very real, and penalties where the special teams units have got to stop holding and tackling.
Edmonton number 28, number 28, 10-yard penalty. Penalty diverge, first down.
Edmonton as well. I mean, when you got Chandler Worthy over there, the Montreal lineup, and the way he's returned the football this year, don't hold or get a clip. Take one off the board.
And wrong again, Smith. Thought it was a Montreal penalty. Surefire way to make sure it's an Edmonton penalty.
Both teams. I will say, though, that up until this is start of week 6 in the Canadian Football League, and penalties are down.
Yeah.
I think over the last week or two, we've seen a little increase there, a little spike up, but penalties are down by about 4 penalties per game combined. They're at 16, just over 16 now, and last year we're just over 19.
So Edmonton has to start further back from their 15, and they trail now for the first time in this game. Ante Milanovic-Litre, former Calgary Stampeder, in his first year with the Elks, driving up near the 20.
By the way, just over 16, too many.
Yeah.
Just you know, let's get it down to 10, gentlemen. We get it down to 4 or 5 each, because they're going to happen. This is a game with a lot of moving parts, and there will be penalties. Cornelius needs to stretch out this defense a little bit and push the ball down deep. See if he can loosen up the secondary.
Taylor Cornelius, first start this season. And completing that one to Kenny Lawler, getting it up across the 30. And for Lawler, that is his first catch in this game.
I hear the guys, the panel before the game, talk about Kenny Lawler and getting him involved a little bit more. #1 targeted receiver coming in with 41 targets. And this is, again, a pre-snap read with Lawler just running this quick out and sitting right in the hole. He saw zone, Taylor Cornelius, and got rid of it immediately before Lawler could leak over to the corner.
Gain of 13 to the Edmonton 32. First down, Cornelius and the Elks. Handing off. This time, it's Sherman Beatty, and picks up a couple of yards and then runs into that blue and red wall. Down he goes after a gain of 3.
Now, Norrell Thorpe, Baron Miles was also let go with the Montreal Alouettes with Kahari Jones. Noel Thorpe, who has worked with Danny Machocha, is calling the defenses and demanding that the guys focus on the fundamentals. This is what he is a stickler with, to fly to the football, but focus on the fundamentals. Alignment, assignment, execution.
Noel Thorpe, talk about the connections between these two. He was Edmonton's defensive coordinator a year ago when Jamie Elizondo was their head coach. Let go, and then now back with Montreal. Flying out. And that pass intended for Lawler, and Najee Murray is right there on Kenny Lawler.
Another linebacker just acquired by Montreal is Micah Alway.
Procedure illégale. Edmonton, number 84, number 84. Penalties decline. Ça va être 3e effet. 3rd down.
Najee Murray, because the play breaks down and Taylor Cornelius is kind of trying to buy himself some time, that allowed the DB and Murray to close quickly. Pretty good hit on Kenny Lawler there.
Back at his 20, Matt Mengel. Whistles blowing just as he's punting it away. And we have a late Is it a late challenge? We do have a challenge flag out by Chris Jones. And barely out before the snap of the ball for that punt.
Chris Jones has challenged twice early in this season. Did not win either of those challenges. In fact, most coaches around the league are not winning their challenges this year. See what he was discussing.
Edmonton is challenging that their number 87. Okay, take two. Edmonton is challenging that their receiver number 87 was interfered with. The play will be reviewed. Edmonton demande la révision du dernier jeu. Ils sont d'avis que leur numéro 87 a été victime d'interférence. On va réviser le jeu.
Ben Major gets that sorted out. So a challenge wasn't PI against Darrell Walker this year by Rodney Randall. We'll find out when we come back. As Edmonton was.
Well, here's where I think Chris Jones is challenging. He's challenging that Randall grabbed Darrell Walker, and you clearly see that. But the ball was thrown to Kenny Lawler, and you can challenge pass interference one way or another.
Upon further review, the ruling on the field stands. Edmonton is charged with their first timeout. Suite à la révision du jeu, le jugement sur le terrain est confirmé. Edmonton perd un temps mort. C'est troisième essai.
So to be clear, illegal contact, not interference because the ball wasn't thrown that way. But they don't get the call. Whatever. Rodney Randall was the one on Darrell Walker there, so it is, after all of that, a punt by Matt Mengel. With Chandler Worthy coming in, the 35. We got flags out. The 15-yard variety. That's all they have now, and a big return too. Worthy, and finally pushed out by the punter Mengel. I say 15 yards. It would have been anyway. He caught the ball, but all those no yards penalties are now regardless.
Well, this is what I mean.
No yards, Edmonton, number 59. Non-respect d'unité, Edmonton. Penalties decline. It's first down for Montreal.
Yeah, and you can bet that the Alouette coaching staff has talked to these return teams and said, look, do not grab or clip any Edmonton guys because our guy can beat them. If you miss your block, number 30 can make that guy miss. That penalty against Edmonton. But clearly Montreal got the message. No penalty there for on them.
44-yard return to the Edmonton 31. So here come the Alouettes. And it's Reggie White. A little quick hitter and takes it down for another first down. So the momentum in this game has quickly turned Montreal's way.
Yeah, and often we see, defenses win in the first quarter as the offenses get a good look at exactly what they're trying to do defensively to stop you. That was a clear zone look from Edmonton, and White sitting in between the zones.
Trevor Harris is 7 of his last 8 for 98 yards and a touchdown after a slow start. Little fake off to the side, under pressure, tries to get away, and he can't. He finally gets rid of the ball for a touchdown. Eugene Lewis, his first of 2022, as the Alouettes increased their lead, and Lewis was wide open.
He hit on the sideline, almost like he went deep, and then he just ignored me. And how you ignore 87, I don't know, but he's out there on the sideline. There was some magic here from number 7 as well, because the pump fake originally didn't work, and he had to find a way with his eyes up to get outside there, get some more time, and find Eugene Lewis. Gino's kind of hiding over there on the sideline.
We know of his value. But Chandler Worthy, more worthy too by the minute, as he had the big return to set up a short field. 2 plays, 31 yards in under a minute. Capped off by that 16 yards, first touchdown of the year. Gino Lewis. Alouettes on top by 11.
Gino Lewis, but watch Hergy Mayala pull coverage towards him and then put that deep outside defender in a bind. There's the fake screen. Stop it there. There's Mayala. Now it's Winicky here, and it's Gino Lewis on the sideline, and you got to pick one of them. Pick your poison, basically, for Ed Gainey back there in the deep outside third. You're wrong either way.
Not an easy choice, too, when it's Gino Lewis or Jake Winicky. Not that it would really matter when we're talking about CFL receivers, and it's like a 2-on-1 and a touchdown to increase the Alouette lead, and it's Charles Nelson on the return. Let's go back down to John Lou.
Thank you, Rod. And Taylor Cornelius and Trevor Harris were short-lived teammates during the former's rookie season before Harris was traded to Montreal last fall, but the veteran quarterback left a lasting impression on Cornelius in a short time. Not just in terms of what he imparted to him in practices and game situations, but in film study and preparation. Now, the two became close enough that Cornelius said that Harris was one of his first friends to text him last offseason when Cornelius got engaged. Now, he says that he and his fiance haven't set a date and location just yet, but in conversation with Cornelius yesterday, TSN managed to snag Harris an invitation to the wedding. So, well, welcome, Trevor.
Intercepted Marc-Antoine Ducroix. Did he take it back all the way? Cornelius trying to get him out before he reaches the end zone. Marc-Antoine Ducroix. They have their arms raised thinking he's in. Looks like he's down. Cornelius just barely saved the touchdown down at the 1.
Off the hands of the receiver. I'm not sure. Cornelius wasn't as accurate as I'm sure he'd like to be here. Didn't put it right on the spot, but that's definitely catchable from Kai Loxley on the curl route. It's not on the quarterback, although it'll go down in his stats. And Marc-Antoine Ducroix, who had a very similar interception for a touchdown earlier in the season. One bounced off the hands of Duke Williams against Saskatchewan, right down in the opposite end, and the safety right where he's supposed to be, breaking on the football. Good things can happen.
Nearly had his second TD, you're right, of the season. That close. Cornelius taking him out. And by the way, Ducroix, one of the many who played for Danny Machoch at the University of Montreal, going on to the CFL. So in short yardage, Dominic Davis finishes what Ducroix started, a touchdown for the Alouettes, as they are really starting to take charge of this game now with just over 5 minutes to go until halftime.
Yeah, when you're on your third quarterback and you're starting week 6 of the season, so basically for the Elks, their 6th game. Now, this interception wasn't on Taylor Cornelius, but you just can't really get some rhythm and consistency offensively, and Montreal starting to take control of this game.
Touchdowns in the last 3 drives, and the last 2 aided and abetted by defense and, as mentioned, special teams the one before on the big return by Worthy. So all 3 units clicking now for the Alouettes, as with the Cote conversion they improved their lead to 24-6. 24 unanswered points by the Alouettes here in their second home game of 2022, looking for their second win of 22.
I like the idea of a backup second team or third team quarterback running your short yardage. It keeps them involved in the game, but you get a strong guy like Dominic Davis. It takes 2 or 3 hits away from Trevor Harris or even VA, Vernon Adams, who is the holder on the extra point and field goal.
Makes it work, but those who like to play fantasy football might see reason to take a short yardage quarterback because of all the points they can get on the touchdowns. We've had that discussion before. But Dominic Davis, who was a starter in Ottawa and the third stringer now, but used in that situation. And Ducroix, former star with the Montreal Carabins, is coached by Danny Machoch, and nearly had his second touchdown, as Suits mentioned a couple of weeks ago against Saskatchewan. Took one off the hands of Duke Williams and took it in. Charles Nelson on the return, and the Elks are in a big hole now as he tries to push his way up near the Edmonton 35.
You know, Kai Loxley really recognized the defense, He found the little hole he wanted to. The quarterback saw him. The read was all there, and there was just one element missing. And you see the hustle from Dequoy. He comes from deep middle to hustle up to get what he thought would be a tackle at the end of the day, because the ball was put where it was supposed to be put, in that weak area, and it bounces off the hands of Loxley, and he's right there. Break on the ball, go to the ball as hard as you can, and good things will happen.
I could see the safety in you when you were talking about that. The eyes light up. I'm sure you encountered that a couple of times, partner. Complete. That's Kenny Lawler up near midfield. That's a gain of 20 for Edmonton late in this first half.
Well, it can get, you know, for a free safety, in all honesty, it can get a little boring back there. I mean, the quarterback is trained to throw away from you, number one. Secondly, you know, you want to be as deep as the deepest most of the time. But what you can do to get involved, if you're playing deep coverage most of the time or free over the middle, is to just hustle to the ball. Whether it's a fumble, strip a guy who's running with it, or just like that. See, take advantage of a tip.
Under 4 minutes to go until halftime. Another completion, Cornelius. This time to Kai Loxley as he gets it down to about the 46, gain of 11. So the Elks, with obviously plenty of time, still 3:40 on the clock and counting, but to get a little closer here.
Noel Thorpe is basically known for this defensively. He's been a defensive coordinator throughout the league. Hustle to the football. Hustle to the football. He's watching all 12 guys, every single play in review when he looks at the video. You better be hustling to the ball if you're playing in Noel Thorpe's defense.
From the Alouette 46, Cornelius.
Nice.
Over the middle, another completion to Lawler. And another first down. Finds him perfectly. They're down inside the 30, a gain of 19, just outside the Alouette 25.
Let's take a look at what Taylor Cornelius saw here. He's got a little drive going just to bounce back, and he absolutely needs it. This is a great throw over the middle. Pretty good coverage with the safety lurking close by, inside of Sutton, and Lawler comes up with it.
It's been all Alouettes this second quarter, but Edmonton is coming back on this drive, down 24-6. 3 minutes to go until half. Dave Naylor playing the guitar there, entertaining the studio panel as they get set to perform at halftime. More music, I don't know. They might even.
They're not going to sing.
Well, I don't know.
Kate maybe can sing, but I can't. I don't know.
Well, I'll throw to Kate with that question.
All right.
But maybe they'll talk about this too. Cornelius, who was 3 for 3 for 50 yards on this drive, and there's the first incompletion of it. Mike Jones on the coverage of Kenny Lawler.
Like Kenny Lawler wanted to. He was looking at that as if there was a communication problem or issue there, because Mike Jones jumped in front of that. Kenny Lawler had to come up and play DB there.
2nd and 10. Under 3 minutes. Edmonton trailing by 18. Cornelius. Armando Sewell chasing him down. He gets rid of it and completes it too. That one is to Darrell Walker, and good for another Edmonton first down.
Well, let's take a look at Darrell Walker through the play, because this is a breakdown from the protections end. So now the receiver has to run scramble drills. So his job was to go down the field. Now he's got to find that empty spot. Where's the spot where the defensive backs aren't? Drop back, keep moving, keep presenting a target right there on the sideline to keep the drive alive. It's veteran play by Darrell Walker.
And a gain of 12. First down. Cornelius 4 for 5 in this drive for 62. Needing a touchdown to get back into this game. They scored first. They haven't scored since. And that one for Walker, and that falls incomplete.
Big down here for Taylor Cornelius coming up. Tried to run that slant to Walker off play action, and you run a slant that's high. He's lucky he didn't get that picked off.
That's Rodney Randall. Yeah, slowly getting up and lamenting a miss there. So Edmonton again, and no, incomplete. And then out of the hands of Lawler down at the 5. So they'll have to settle for a field goal try now for Sergio Castillo.
Take a look at this curl. This is against Wesley Sutton, and this is straight man-to-man. But see how Sutton holds the inside position? Basically, he's saying to Taylor Cornelius, if you want to complete it to your guy, you got to throw it through me. Again, there were 2 throws at the end of that drive that could have very easily been picked off.
So a 21-yard attempt for Castillo, who's 13 of 16 for field goals. He missed an extra point earlier, held by Scott Hutter, and that one is through. So 3 more on the board and a 24-9. Danny Machocha. Proud of the 05 Edmonton Grey Cup, but very proud of this. 2014 Montreal Carabin against McMaster University. Sean Thomas Erlington with the touchdown. There's our Marshall Ferguson, quarterback for Mac. And they could have won it. Came down to a Tyler Crapina field goal try. Sorry, Marshall, if you're watching, because that block led to the championship for Danny Machocha and the Carabin. They went to the Vanier a few more times, but that for him was just a thrilling win. And that's after all of his CFL days as well with Edmonton. Very proud of the Carabin victory in 2014. Trevor Harris. Reggie White up near the 50.
Yeah, you know, it was interesting when you asked that question on Zoom this week to Danny Machocha, and he said, well, in the CFL, yeah, 2005 was the big year, the Grey Cup championship. Ricky Ray was their quarterback against Anthony Calvillo, and then, but he was quick to say, but you know, he's really proud of not only that Vanier Cup championship, but really turning around the University of Montreal Carabin program, the football program there. I mean, it had struggled for many years, and he got in there, and you saw that win-loss record, and of course the Vanier Cup we just showed you, but very proud of that and his connection there, and boy, it helps him as a GM. He knows U-Sport. Yeah, definitely. And look at all of his players, as we talked about, not only playing in the CFL, but also with the Alouettes, and you can definitely see his influence. By the way, that game in 2014, right here in Montreal, on this field at McGill. So lost yardage, loss of 2, 2nd and 12. Alouettes, Walter Fletcher had a solid first half in this start. At 52 yards on the ground before that carry, but not nearly enough even to get back to the original line of scrimmage. They'll be punting. I just start thinking about those matchups, Ricky Ray versus Anthony Calvillo, and Danny Machocha is either the OC or the head coach for those Edmonton teams, and how great Anthony Calvillo was for Montreal those years with Mike Pringle and in his backfield, and all the great all-star players he had to throw to. Ben Cahoon. Yeah, winning the Grey Cup 20 years ago when Danny Machocha was on the other side with Edmonton. And no one has thrown for more yards than the guy calling the plays for Montreal tonight. At halftime, they will be honoring that 2002 team 20-year anniversary, by the way, when Danny Machocha was on the other side, as mentioned, with Edmonton as the OC. Chris Jones, in his first year in the CFL, was the defensive line coach with Montreal when Anthony Calvillo and the Alouettes won that Grey Cup over Edmonton in Edmonton. They're honoring that team at the half. 55 seconds away. Sees it go back to Charles Nelson on the run inside his 5. And Richards in there. Caron as well. And they're hemmed in deep, but with very little time left on the clock. We get set for halftime. Who's the lead singer in that band right there is what I'm wondering. Interesting call here. I know who would say he's the singer. Yeah. Hey, that guy would say he's the guy that's leading the band. Well, I don't know. You know, there is the band. I'm going with, I'm going to say Kate is the singer. And sure. So we know Naylor's playing rhythm. Yeah. We could hear that. And Milt would be on what? Milt would be on drum. No, Milt would be on drums. He'd be on bass. Really? Would be on bass. Yeah. Just keeping that really cool beat going behind, and then that's what I would choose. Yeah, you put him on drums. Okay. They get the band together. They get the band together in 33 seconds. There you go, Darrell Walker. Second down here, Elks, who had an impressive drive to try to get back into this game, and they're 24-9. That's nothing. A late adjustment here, though, you know, in this second quarter, about halfway through, is Taylor Cornelius working the ball to that short side, Darrell Walker and Kenny Lawler. So see what the adjustment that Noah Thorpe makes in the second half, and if they can still go after it. Of course, the interception from Marc-Antoine Dubois,
who nearly took it in for the touchdown. They did score after that pick, but Elks want to be careful here too with just a few seconds left. That one falls at the feet of Mike Jones, not to be confused with other Mike Jones. We saw him in the same frame for a moment. 12 white and 8 blue. Mike Jones and Mike Jones, but it's 3rd and 10 now and 32 seconds left. And they'll have to make a decision here from their end zone.
Well, you know, if you're Edmonton, you don't want to give up any points here. But at the same time, you got Chandler Worthy back there, and you know, on the return, you can get in field goal range.
Right.
So 3 or 2.
I was just going to say, there's a good chance they're giving up 3 if they punt it away. There's certainly time for the Alouettes to get close enough for a Cote field goal try, but Mengel does punt it. And he's got quite a leg, but it does come down still in Edmonton territory. Worthy. And with a spin, he is taken down in field goal range. There you go, Glenn.
Yeah. I say you got 2, maybe 3 plays if you're really efficient. Trevor Harris can get it done, maybe work the sideline, get a more comfortable field goal attempt set up. You're 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. That's where the ball is held and the kicker kicks from. So another 10 yards would make it a lot more comfortable for Cote, but certainly makeable from here too. But 2 or 3 plays. Be efficient.
20 seconds, 1st and 10, Edmonton 41. Oh, it's intercepted! How about that for the Elks? Adam Konar gets the pick. And not only are we no longer talking about a Montreal field goal try, we may just be talking about Edmonton adding 3.
How do you like the final 3 minutes of the first half, the final 3 minutes of Canadian football? Guess what? Anything can happen. You know, we're just talking about strategies and 3 plays for Trevor Harris. He got locked in. He looked right to that short side slant, and Konar just fell underneath it. He wanted to get Lewis on this slant route, and Konar just slid right underneath the throw.
And Edmonton will get the ball to start the second half. If the Elks are able to come back in this game, how big was that play? 11 seconds now. Can they get it a little closer? Trying to do that with Beatty as he gets it inside the 40. So there you go for Sergio Castillo. 5 seconds.
Yeah, you got to take the field goal now if you're Edmonton. Take the points now. This is a nice little push of momentum. Just a nice bump. Not a huge momentum grabber, but a nice bump to get the pick. Take that 3 possibility off the board. Now get 3 of your own and close the gap. I think it gives you a little momentum at halftime.
I wasn't considering this when they were punting it from the end zone about 2 minutes ago.
Exactly.
The game can change in a heartbeat. Big interception by Adam Konar. So here we go now. From 46 yards, Sergio Castillo to get 3 points closer. Straight down the middle, and that is certainly money in the bank. So, yeah, that's a turn. They're still down by 12, but it could have been so much worse for the Edmonton Elks. Alouettes lead, not by as much as they made it a little more interesting at the half. They're still trailing by 12. Here is now Elk former Alouette Trey Watson with John Liu.
Trey, with Adam Konar getting that interception very late in the first half, what was the mood in the dressing room like, especially amongst the defensive unit?
We're ready to finish the game, man. That was an opportunity we needed. Capitalized, got points before halftime. It's a 2-score game. We drive down the field right now, score a touchdown. It's a 1-score game, and who knows what happens then. We got to take advantage of our opportunities.
It was only a week ago that you were a Montreal Alouette. What's it like facing your old team so soon into your Edmonton tenure?
It's a unique opportunity, man, especially given the way the events of the last week played out. But at the end of the day, I get to play, get to provide for my family, and this is what I enjoy doing. Any opponent, you got to get a win. At the end of the day, that's what matters most.
Thanks for this, Trey.
Absolutely, I appreciate you.
Chris Jones was among the many who was surprised by the fact that Watson was available, and Watson actually gave him a call and snatched him up, and now starting for his defense. The defense has said that it's made it a little more interesting to start the second half.
A big play by Adam Konar, as he mentioned, and 4 tackles for Trey Watson. What does Chris Jones have for the second half when it comes to adjustments?
Well, just a 12-point Alouette lead after the Konar pick set up a late field goal. So Charles Nelson to begin the second half. Edmonton has the ball and a little bit of momentum late in that first half when it looked like they could fall behind further. Alexander Gagne taking down Nelson on that kickoff to open up the second half. Taylor Cornelius on the very first possession. They had good field position to start. Drove down. Sherman Beatty got the touchdown, and they had the early 6-0 lead, but then all Alouettes after that.
Well, in that second quarter, he really worked the short side of the field. The Darrell Walker, Kenny Lawler combination. That's right down here right now. So that's where he sort of finished the first half.
So a 1st and 10 to start from their 39. Play fake. Deep ball. Caught. It's caught. Darrell Walker. Wesley Sutton was on him, but a quick strike for Edmonton to start this second half.
Yeah, and I showed you that early in the first half that Taylor Cornelius can move around. He can throw on the run. This is going to his left and trying to switch the hips around and get the shoulders right and throw it over the top and like teardrop it in to Darrell Walker, going right back to that short side. So Wesley Sutton and Rodney Randall, it's going to be an interesting 2-on-2 matchup back there.
Walker, a 38-yard gain. He has 3 catches for 60. And a big play to start this second half for Edmonton. Trying to get closer on this drive. Cornelius throwing it inside to Manny Arsenal. Gets it down to the 27, but a flag does come out.
Edmonton had no end on the last play. Edmonton n'avait pas d'allié rapproché sur le dernier jeu. It's a 5-yard penalty. 5-yard penalty. Penalty Saint-Verge, oui. Still first down.
And take a look at Chris Jones after that illegal procedure, and going back to that first half and the challenge on the pass interference. I know there was some confusion there, but basically what happened is Chris Jones challenged a play that was away from where the ball was thrown. He challenged a route by Darrell Walker. The ball was thrown to Kenny Lawler. You can't challenge illegal contact, and he was told that by the official on the sideline, so he challenged pass interference on it. That's why it wasn't overturned.
So on the 1st and 15 after the penalty, that goes incomplete now. And Chris Jones last time around in the CFL, that was challengeable. Remember the time when they were allowing contact away from the play, and it turned out to be too many challenges made.
Yeah, they brought the pendulum back a little bit, so you can't challenge illegal contact. And he was told that by the officials. He was told that you can't challenge that, and if you try to challenge illegal contact, you will be charged a delay of game penalty. So he said, okay, then I'm gonna challenge for pass interference. They went back because the ball wasn't thrown to Darrell Walker. There was no pass interference. Illegal contact, yes, but it was missed on the field and not challengeable.
2nd and 15 at the Montreal 38. Edmonton setting it up for Beatty, and a brilliant tackle by Mike Moore, who used to play for Edmonton. And that pushes the Elks back, still within a field goal try, but a longer one after that loss of 3.
He comes from a long way. Mike Moore is going to line up outside on this one. He's normally in that inside sort of D tackle spot, but this time he's way outside, so really needs some quickness and speed to close this down from the backside. That's a screen that goes away from him. He just goes with the read and catches Beatty from behind.
This one, his longest attempt of the night for Sergio Castillo at 48 yards, and no, he misses that to the right. So out comes Chandler Worthy. Always dangerous. And taken down. McKenna Henry is there with Scott Hutter just beyond the 20. So a good possession by Edmonton, but no points to show for it. Montreal ball after this. And doing what he does best, right? I remember he did that to Don Matthews, the late great head coach of that team, and during a game, and there's Ben Cahoon, Hall of Famer, bringing it in the Grey Cup 20 years ago.
Well, just a great Alouette team. I think about that 2002 football team. You look back at that game. Regular season, Montreal 13-5, but up against the Edmonton, at the time, Eskimos at 13-5 as well. So equal. When you take a look at the regular season records, the Alouettes beat Toronto in the Eastern Final. Of course, both got the bye to the final. And then they faced, that was an onside kick attempt with Edmonton closing late in the game, and Jermaine Copeland. Remember Jermaine Copeland?
Absolutely.
Back to the house. But listen to some of the guys. Brian Chu, Scott Flory, who we saw, the head of the U of S program in Saskatchewan, doing such a good job there. But some of the All-Stars, Ben Cahoon we saw, but Baron Miles was on that team, Anwar Stewart, Keith Stokes, Mark Washington was on that team. You mentioned Pat Woodcock, and of course, Mike Pringle.
Oh, him.
Number 27.
Yeah.
And that guy was pulling the trigger, Anthony Calvillo. So that was a all-star unit when you think back at just how good that team was.
And they played for the Grey Cup. Montreal and Edmonton did 3 times in 4 years. Edmonton came back, got revenge in 03, and won it again when Danny Machocha was their head coach in 05. What a history with these two organizations. The first down, Julian Grant spins and gets a whole lot more, and a great tackle to save a touchdown by the safety, Scott Hutter.
This is a pre-snap read by Trevor Harris. We talked about this in the first half. Pre-snap read, Trevor Harris knows the soft spot because here, look, bailing corner means that he's got a deep outside zone. So where do I throw it? To that soft spot. Hit Julian Grant out there, and now he does the rest. Quick spin on the inside, and then he gets back to that sideline, and away he goes. And that was a touchdown-saving tackle by Scott Hutter.
Julian Grant, a terrific move there in Collins to spring him for a gain of 42 yards, and the Alouettes and a first and goal right at the Edmonton 10. Little play fake with time for Winicky, who had Ed Gainey coming right after him. He got a hand on the ball, but it falls incomplete. Second down.
Julian Grant played. Had a quick flashback. AC to Ben Cahoon or Jermaine Copeland. This is trying to get it over the middle, and a lot of traffic in there on the play action.
Would have been a tough catch for Jake Winicky, and probably would have been quite a hit for Ed Gainey.
Gainey's still looking for his first pick.
Once had 4 of them in a game when he was with Saskatchewan a few years back. Second down. Harris under pressure, taken down, finishing it off is Mac Henry. So it, with a flag out, depending the outcome of that flag, be looking at a field goal try here for Montreal. We'll see.
Illegal contact illégal. Edmonton, number 37, number 37. We're going to go up half the distance. It's going to be first down for Montreal.
No, the drive continues instead with a first and goal again for the Alouettes. Preston Deku flag there for the illegal contact. Ball is pushed up to the 5. The Alouettes lead by 12, looking to significantly increase their lead here. Antwi met at the line of scrimmage, but he still drives forward for a few yards to get it close, but a gain of 3 for Antwi.
Well, the Elks defense was off the field, and then they got this penalty. Tristan Deku, who you'll see on Mayala here, he just sort of bear hugs him and doesn't let him go. That's the illegal contact. Correct call by the official, and then grabs his jersey as well. Not sure what he was arguing about.
Dominic Davis, short yardage quarterback, is in for this second and goal at the Edmonton 2. Keeps it left side. No,
I don't think
definitely not. Not even close to the 1. Hutter among others in there to pull him back.
Well, let's take a look, but one of these Elks, I believe we're up here. I mean, the push, well, it might not have been there either. Where was it where I saw?
Jamin Pelly there as well. So
I think
here's
that was it. Yeah, it was Pelly.
Third down. Touchdown. Davis again. Scores it for Montreal.
Quarterbacks take pride in this, and so do their offensive line. I mean, you can be the third-string quarterback, but take pride in making sure you're never denied down there when you need a yard to go to score. And there's no question about crossing the plane for Dominic Davis.
Second rushing touchdown tonight for Davis, and his 4th of the season.
I don't know. Did he call gaps or? He called gaps.
With the point after try here coming from David Cote. Up and through. And now the biggest lead for the Alouettes after that 8-play drive. Chris Schlugger. Let the big guys celebrate after that Montreal touchdown.
Monster touchdown drive. This was the big play. Julian Grant right here. Let's show you that spin move one more time, because it was the yards after the catch that really made the difference and was the dagger. This hard look inside to pull the defensive back towards the inside. Just that little bit of an angle, and then freezes him, and now he is gone.
And a short kick here as Cote recovers the ball. Montreal has it back.
This is pre-game scouting. This is why you do all the work in practice, where your special teams guys are trying to figure out, is there anything we can do to surprise them because of their formation? Is there a gap to the outsides? Can we surprise them with an onside during the game? Is there a fake possibility on a punt return? But you scout, you look for the hole, and they found one in the Edmonton return team right down Main Street.
And at a time when the Elks would least expect something like this.
Now we'll see if that ball goes 10 yards. That'll be checked. It'll go to the 40. It's past the 40. Well passed. Well executed. But you can see the gap.
David Cote made the short kick.
Look at this gap, Rod, right here. I mean, this is looking throughout the week. How do they set up their return team? Is there room? And there was, well executed right in that gap.
And so, after going up by 19, the Alouettes surprised the Elks with a short kick. It's their ball again for Trevor Harris. Completing again to the 50, and a flag comes out. And the ball came out as well. Reggie White had caught it. A flag came down after a gain of 9. And the Elks have the football if that penalty's against Montreal.
Well, I think looking at it live that was a fumble.
And the Alouette offense is going off the field.
Offside, hors-jeu. Montreal 84, numéro 84. The penalty is declined. The ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by Edmonton. First down for Edmonton.
So Reggie White caught it. He was also offside, and he coughs it up too. So just after the short kick, it's Edmonton ball at midfield. Edmonton football after a fumble. They had been victims of a short kick, but Montreal turns it over right away, and across midfield, here are the Elks. Sherman Beatty breaking right. Cornelius out in front to block for him.
Go back and look at that fumble, Rod, and it was a play by Trey Watson and one of his teammates. There's White right here. He's going to run that quick curl route and then has the ball. First of all, he was offside, so that flag was already on the field. But you see Trey Watson come across too, and at some point in that hit, he grabbed his right knee. They're examining him right now on the sideline.
And Kyle Loxley in short yardage is the quarterback and has enough for a first down. It would certainly appear. Just needed about a foot.
Scott Hutter, by the way, Wilfrid Laurier product, was the guy who got the fumble and has given his team this great field position. You'd start to think, you know, at this point you're in 3-down territory almost. You're in plus territory first of all. Although you never want to give away the opportunity for points.
Just outside the 41, so.
See what Trey Watson can walk this off. Watching him, if I could read lips, it looked like he said, no, I'm back in as soon as I can.
First and 10. Oh, handing off.
How about that little move?
Little shaken by Beatty. Picks up about 5 yards on that carry.
just take that little shake and bake right there, right at the hole, like pow, pow, pow. Whoa. Big D linemen are going, where was he? What happened there? As it was Antonio Simmons, it was kind of frozen.
Sherman shaking Beatty.
Oh, I see what you're doing. I see where you're going.
2nd and 5 now. 3rd quarter, getting late for the Elks. With time, and completing it too, and a flag coming out. Rodney Randall in the coverage there on Darrell Walker, who had a big catch, 44 yards to start this second half.
I think this will count.
Illegal contact. Contact illégal. Montreal, number 32, numéro 32. Penalty is declined. It's a first down for Edmonton.
Darrell Walker a little slow to get up here too, but first of all, this is what I mean about the arm strength of Taylor Cornelius. I mean, that was just a little flick of the wrist to get it out there in no time at all. The contact happened just before the ball arrived, and it was past the 5-yard zone where you're allowed to make contact with the receiver, and they're looking at the left leg of Darrell Walker.
Trey Watson, who 2 weeks ago was a member of the Alouettes, had a great game in Saskatchewan and then was surprisingly let go and picked up by the Elks. Injured before, says he's ready to go again. And now Darrell Walker all with the Alouettes, and it flourished with Edmonton. The Edmonton Eskimos back then, of course, and he arrived there in 2002. He won a Grey Cup as an offensive coordinator. He later became the head coach and won a Grey Cup again in 2005, and he was a general manager, director of football ops as well until 2010.
Working with a real young Ricky Ray.
Yeah, he talked about that experience as the OC when Ricky Ray and Jason Moss were there, and Ray took over as the #1 QB back in 02, and they went to and lost that Grey Cup to the 02 Alouettes, winning it the next year.
15 on Taylor Cornelius. That was Ricky Ray's number.
Pretty regal number, isn't it? Hall of Famer Ricky Ray. Sherman Beatty on that first down, driving it down near the 20. So it's a 19-point game, to your point. If it wasn't 3-down territory before, it certainly is now.
Yeah, I think, but
still take the 3.
Well, if you do the math, you take 3 here, and it's a 2-score game. You're back to 2 possessions with a whole quarter to play. So, you know, you don't want to give up points if you can't convert here on 2nd and 7 and keep it at 3 possessions. I always think of it as possessions rather than points.
So 2nd and 7, see what they do here anyway from the 21. The pump fake. The look into the end zone. And that coverage is tight and the flags are out on Wesley Sutton in coverage there, and Kenny Lawler. So this is going to set up the Elks in a 1st and goal.
You know, it's an accurate throw.
Montreal, number 37. Numéro 37. The ball we place at the 1-yard line. Ballon sera placé à ligne d'une verge. Premier essai, Edmonton.
It's a great throw because it allows Kenny Lawler here, who's going to go one-on-one, end up with Sutton in coverage in the zone behind him. Now it becomes man-to-man here, but watch Lawler pull Sutton and get his arms right around him and almost pull him down with him. If it's not thrown behind, you can't do that.
Touchdown, Edmonton. Right after that pass interference, Loxley comes in, and they punch it in. And yes, they are very much in this game.
Low man wins down here. Good push by David Beard right over the middle. Just there's no doubt there for Loxley. Bouncing back after that one went through his hands and into the hands of Marc-Antoine Dequoy.
So they're going for 2 here. Cornelius stays in, which does make sense. It's 13 points now. If you can cut it to 11, that could be a touchdown with a 2-point convert and a field goal. So agree with the move? Cornelius.
I'll tell you.
Your answer now is no.
I'll tell you after I see what happens. Okay, no, I don't like it.
I thought that was a long pause. Exactly what I was thinking. He's waiting to see how this plays out, isn't he? So.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice, you know, we can be up here in the booth and you know, talk about these strategic decisions by head coaches, and unless you're down there, you know, on the field making these decisions, it really is, you know. But the bottom line is you don't want to be in a second guess. I do like the call, generally speaking, because if you don't get it, you remain in a 2-possession game. So it doesn't change that if you don't get it. So I think it's a decent decision. But look at how Lawler, because that ball was thrown where it was with great accuracy, Lawler can work around Sutton to pull him down with him.
And so to be clear, 2 possessions either way, but this is 2 touchdowns as opposed to it could have been the potential of a touchdown and field goal.
So that's why, exactly. So that's why I think you like the strategy, because the downside is still 2 possessions.
Right.
But if you get it, it's 2 possessions, but one of those possessions can be a field goal. So that's risk and reward.
But they're getting closer. 13 points. Still a ways down. And there's Worthy with a flag coming out as he is another big kickoff return, getting up over midfield.
Boy, this guy is worth the price of admission. I'm telling you, like, it doesn't matter if he gets the ball 4 or 5 times in a game. Every time I feel like everybody in the stadium is at the edge of their seat. Edmonton had a pretty good returner in their history, if I remember correctly.
Did he wear number 2, perchance?
But they gotta have a long talk about these penalties on the return teams, because when you have a guy like that, I remember talking to Gizmo about the returns and coaches that had coached the special teams in Edmonton during those times, and it was like, hey, do not commit a penalty when he's back there. He can make the whole team miss. We don't even need anybody blocking.
And think of all the ones he had called back, too. Touchdowns. Harris looking down to the left. And another flag on Saunier comes out in coverage of Eugene Lewis. Is this pass interference against Edmonton?
Young group.
Pass interference. Interférence sur la passe. Edmonton number 5. Number 5. It's going to be first down for Montreal.
Saunier's the guy on the outside. Again, and this is Geno Lewis. This is their number 1 guy. And he doesn't have to grab him. He doesn't have to armbar him. Right there in great position. He's got to trust. And for a defensive back, that takes time.
A 27-yard penalty. 1st and 10. Late 3rd quarter. Trevor Harris. He completes it to Herji Mayala. But they lose yardage on that catch. With the former Stampeder. 1st-round draft pick by Calgary back in 2019.
Yeah, think about Saunier's play down there to keep this drive alive. Again, you know, a young rookie out of Midwestern State, and you know, I talk about getting the confidence that when you're in position, you don't need to grab. That's at this level. You're getting up against Geno Lewis. Chips are down now. You just have to be composed when the ball arrives.
About 1:15 to go in 3/4 time. Little underhand shuffle there to Walter Fletcher. And he gets a good gain after that, up across the 45 to about the 48-yard line on that 2nd and 12, a gain of 9.
Christian Matt is going to get out and get on the linebacker and cut off a lane here to get this play, give it a chance. Just pulls out little underhand shovel pass to Fletcher. A big 5-1. He got his job done.
Not enough for the first down, though, so they will be kicking it away on the 3rd and 3. Joseph Zima. And they let the play clock go down.
Montreal number 36. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's still 3rd down.
A lot of running around and apparent confusion in the Alouette special teams unit, the punting team.
Yeah, who came out late? Because that's what you look for. You look for, when that happens, you look and see someone from the Montreal bench is hustling to get back out there. Didn't have enough.
So Zima standing inside the Alouette 30 now. A 13-point lead, and Edmonton's getting the ball back. Ed Gainey inside the 20. Nowhere to run. Zach Lindley, the final one there on special teams to take him down from Montreal.
Take a look at how the numbers look for Taylor Cornelius, because there's been some good throws. I mean, this was the book on him coming out of last year with his 8 starts. It's not jumping off the page after 3 quarters, but made some nice throws. Drives have bogged down in the in plus territory on Montreal's side of the field. Of course, there was the Duquois tip and interception.
Last play of the quarter, right at the 20 for Edmonton, 1st and 10. Completed. Loxley went low to get that. Good play, Loxley, to catch it and get it up near the 30. Gain of 10. Elks ball, 2-score game. In their 1 win this season, they came back in the 4th quarter to beat the Ticats in Hamilton. Trying to do it again. Montreal trying to hang on with 15 minutes to go. Thursday Night Football presented by 7-Eleven. To the Hamilton Tiger Cats, you can't let Edmonton hang around too much here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, think about the end of the first half. We were talking about the fact that the Alouettes were going in with a few plays left in the half to try and add to their total and get that field goal. It was intercepted by Konar. Ended up 3 points for Edmonton. It can turn quickly, and you're right, Edmonton is hanging around. This is a great opportunity for Taylor Cornelius. I mean, he's the 3rd quarterback, yes. Trey Watson's trying to work out his injury. We've heard that Darrell Walker is going to be re-examined in the locker room, but what an opportunity here for Taylor Cornelius. I mean, a chance to say, make a statement and come out here and say, I'm going to bring this team back, make it a 1-possession game in this drive, and go from there.
And in the what-if department, looking at points that Edmonton didn't get, a missed extra point, a missed 2-point try, and there was a missed field goal, 2 from 48 by normally very reliable Castillo. But with that, I mean, it would have been that much closer for Edmonton in this game as it stands 13.
Well, you know what can happen in 3 minutes. You can score 3 times in the final 3 minutes in the CFL. So there's a whole quarter to play here and a real opportunity for 15.
4th quarter, throwing, and Loxley on the receiving end again for Edmonton, and he looks like he's a little injured on that play.
Right in the rib area. I saw him limp earlier in the 3rd quarter, and wondering if he's sort of gutting it out right now, and that was just aggravating an older injury.
And presents an interesting danger on that Edmonton offense. Loxley does, as mentioned earlier, he is a quarterback, and he's been dressing, he's been playing as a slot back at another injured player, Rodney Randall, for Montreal. But
I think he tackled him.
And yeah, both in on that play and both slow to get up. But Loxley, we saw it earlier in the double pass try, having 2 quarterbacks out there on the field, and nearly had it completed to Kenny Lawler. and scored a touchdown most recently here in the second half in short yardage. A versatile player, and he is injured for Edmonton. Loxley. Just off at the Edmonton sideline. In the fourth quarter, a 2nd and 4 for the Vincent Payne now. Slot back. The quarterback Cornelius completes it over the middle at midfield and another first down. Here comes Edmonton. Kenny Lawler with the catch. That's his 4th of this game.
Pretty good coverage, and Kenny Lawler wins the fight. Now you've got two starting receivers out of the lineup. For Edmonton, Taylor Cornelius does not have Darrell Walker at the moment, or Kai Loxley, as you mentioned, so they're going to lean on 89.
Coming into this game, he led the CFL in targets and catches. Has his 4th for 70 yards. First down. Deeper ball, taking a shot. Looking at Lawler again, and the flag comes out on Sutton again. He's already been flagged for PI as the boos rain down here in Montreal. The last pass interference by Sutton led to a 1st and goal and an Edmonton touchdown.
Again, zone that turns into man at the end of the row. Remember this down in the goal line, and Sutton again is arguing, but there is a grab here. I mean, there is Lawler. He's just going to run straight down the seam. Watch when 37 gets in your picture here. And on the left hand, look at the left hand. He's grabbing the shoulder pad as Lawler tries to get it. There's the hand right there. And then that pull with the shoulder, pulling the shoulder down, is going to get called before the ball arrives.
A 38-yard penalty against Sutton and the Alouettes. As Danny Machocha wants to talk things over with Ben Major about that. He's challenging.
A different tactic. It was up there, more of a negotiation, it looked like, from Danny Machocha.
Montreal is challenging the ruling of pass interference. The play will be reviewed. Montréal demande une révision du jeu. Ils sont d'avis qu'il ne devrait pas y avoir de pénalité sur le dernier jeu. Ça va aller à la révision.
Big challenge, too, because Edmonton is in business. Down 2 scores, and with the help of the penalty, threatening to get closer. For a special touchdown Atlantic game on Saturday after a 3-year hiatus. Saturday you can catch the Rough Riders taking on the Argos 1:30 Eastern from Wolfville, Nova Scotia.
Upon further review, the ruling on the field stands. Après révision du jeu, la décision sur le terrain est maintenue. Premier essai pour Edmonton.
Yeah, no, I think when Wesley Sutton first put his hand on the shoulder pad of Lawler, he was okay there until, as it progressed, he pulled down the shoulder. As soon as he yanked the receiver like that, that's going to be called. I'm not surprised it wasn't overturned.
Taylor Cornelius is 14 of 24, 181. He's thrown a pick. He has not thrown a touchdown pass tonight. From the Alouettes 17 to get closer. Throwing to his right, he completes it. That's Loxley back in this game right at the first down marker, and he seems to be fine.
Yeah, he does. We saw him walking it off. We saw him just trying to get himself back in this game, and a nice outside release here. Ball is thrown on time and right where it needed to be.
Just enough for the first down. Inside the 10, it's down to about the 7-yard line, a 1st and goal. Loxley, Cornelius, the Elks, here they come, down 13. Faking to Beatty. Cornelius keeps, he gets inside the 5. He's taken down about the 2-3 yard line for a shorter 2nd and goal.
Well, this run read option, you've got 2 choices of the quarterback. One is a bunch of ice bags, and one is to try and out-sprint the defense to the corner. Cornelius took option 1. He got pounded pretty good from pursuit from the linebackers because he took an inside lane. Now Loxley takes over from here, taking the snaps.
He had 21 carries for 149 yards rushing last year. Gets them closer. Loxley is in to take this big 2nd and goal snap. Loxley, touchdown touchdown, Edmonton. And Kyle Loxley really turning this game.
Decline. It's a touchdown.
There was a penalty against Montreal, declined, of course, so 2 rushing touchdowns for Kyle Loxley, when for a brief moment we weren't sure if he'd be back in this game.
Yeah, he's still trying to shake off that injury on the left side of his upper body, but boy, he drives there because he was 2 yards away, maybe a long 2.5, and he needed to get off that left side and get a good push. He got it from David Foucault and Tony Washington, former Montreal Alouettes, but that's an athletic quarterback that punched it in.
So the point after try.
Can't even really move that left hand. He's high-fiving on the back side of his hand on the right side.
And meanwhile, on that conversion try.
Time count violation. Trop de temps pour mettre le ballon en jeu. Edmonton, number 14. Number 14. The 5-yard penalty will re-kick.
These points after were always a little less automatic, going out to the 32, and now 5 yards further back in a time count. So not a slam dunk at 37 for Castillo, who missed a point after try earlier. Seven points now to make it 6 after an 90-yard drive. So now we are down to a 6-point game after that longer conversion by Castillo. Now let's go back to John Liu in the sidelines.
Thank you, Rod. And prior to kickoff, the Montreal Alouettes raised a banner behind their bench, which will stay there for the remainder of the 2022 season. It is a banner in commemoration of the late Guy Lafleur, who passed on April 22nd due to cancer. Now, Alouettes president Mario Cecchini, who grew up a Lafleur and Marv Levy fan, says he and the Alouettes immediately wanted to do something upon Lafleur's passing. So this tribute was to celebrate Lafleur, the man, as much as the hockey player, because he transcended sports in Quebec and its culture, as well as many parts of Canada, with his kindness and generosity. Now, the Alouettes would have raised this banner at their home opener, but Guy's son, Martin, wasn't available at that time like he was tonight. So the flower got his due tonight, guys.
Nice to see, John. Thank you for not just a sports legend from Montreal, as you alluded, so much more than that. The iconic Guy Lafleur passing away last April. The leading scorer in Montreal Canadiens history, over 1,200 points, and revered for his time with the Habs. Chandler Worthy on the return. He is worthy. Dion Lacey grabs him and gets him out, but not before another good kickoff return by Worthy.
Well, just one of the greatest hockey players of all time. You think of all my buddies on their beer league team that are Habs fans. They're Habs fans because of Guy Lafleur. And he up and down that wing with the hair, and look at that. Just fantastic hockey player, and as you mentioned, Rod, just a better person, and transcended the game here in Quebec, and will be missed, but the memories will be there.
Absolutely. Sports icon. Deshaun Antwi, the ball carrier here. And what's becoming a more critical point now for Montreal. What was a 31-12 lead is down to 31-25.
Yeah, the Montreal Alouettes had, like you said at the break, you're at home, you're feeling pretty comfortable with a 2-possession lead, and that just disappeared. So now it's time for Trevor Harris to grab that sense of urgency again and putting some points on the board.
Harris 16-22, 199 yards passing, 2 touchdown passes, 1 pick. Passing here. Completing it to in space, Gino Lewis. Finally taken out of bounds, down inside the 35. Big first down for the Alouettes.
Deep crossing, or not deep crossing, a crossing route that's shallow, but he's got to get over there. He's outside the hash mark, the old hash marks, and he's got to get all the way across the field almost to the numbers. So that means that Trevor Harris needs to have a little bit of time and float away from that pass rush to get it out to his #1 receiver.
And a gain of 26 yards for Gino Lewis. 5 catches, 73 yards, and a touchdown. Back in the first half. Seems like a long time ago for Montreal, with Edmonton stealing a lot of this second half momentum. As a timeout is called by the Owls, as Trevor Harris will head off and discuss things with Anthony Calvillo.
Yeah, he called the timeout. He looked at the defense. He realized the play call he had and said, nope, this is the wrong setup, maybe wrong personnel for the play call. Again, this will be up to Anthony Calvillo. Danny Machocha is observing, of course, and making all the in-game management sort of decisions. But he's leaving it to his coordinators to call the plays.
And we had a chat with Danny Machocha earlier a couple of days ago, who, as you had talked about, he re-emphasized even if they win the Grey Cup, he's not coaching after this year.
Yeah.
But in terms of implementing change, you can't do much mid-season. Got to trust your coaches and observe. From the Edmonton 34 and a 1st and 10. Antwi feels his way through, gets through a hole and inside the 30.
So Trey Watson was trying to walk his injury off. Appears that he hasn't been able to do that. So Dion Lacey, middle linebacker now for the Edmonton Elks. We know about Dion Lacey.
Sure do. And he had been a starter in the middle earlier this season. As said, Chris Jones keeps shifting things around, and frustrating for Watson, who I'm sure this game meaning a whole lot to him, having just left the Alouettes in a surprising move. 2nd and 6 after that 4-yard gain by Antwi. Out of the pocket, Harris goes, flags out, he takes off, and he gets what would be enough for a 1st down.
Now this is going to be a holding call against Montreal, I believe. Trevor Harris doesn't know it yet.
Montreal number 55, 55, penalty diverge. It's going to be 2nd down repeated.
That's the right tackle, Landon Rice. He's up at the top of your screen here, and let's see, inside move on the spin by Thomas Costigan, and a tackle. Trevor Harris didn't know it. He thought he had the 1st down. 2nd and long, 2nd and 10 plus.
So back to the Edmonton 40. And denying Gino Lewis.
Got on the board.
He does, and you were just wondering, where are those Ed Gainey picks that we used to see so much of? There, he's got one.
Yeah, and it was a 2-deep zone defense. So actually, Trevor Harris thought that he had his receiver down the right side of your screen, but what he didn't know is there he is. Ed Gainey's going to drop back, and he has half the field. His responsibility there is just to flow to the football. The ball's thrown inside, he flows inside. He's free to play the ball back there in 2-deep zone, and he just flies across, high points it, and gets his 1st of the season.
And excuse me, Keon Julian Grant, the intended receiver, denied by Ed Gainey. What a career intercepting the football for Gainey. 24th interception for Ed Gainey. And Taylor Cornelius takes off, so that's his baby now.
You get that first one. You always feel like if you're off to a slow start as a DB in the interception department, all your buddies are saying, hey, they'll come in bunches. Get that first one, and the rest will follow.
So I still remember, I think it was 2017, Saskatchewan against BC, when he had 4 in one game.
10 that season total.
So just a 2nd and 2 for the Elks there, and a little punching going on after the fact. That's Sherman Beatty in there with Wesley Sutton.
Well, if there's no flag down there, that may be caught on for supplemental discipline.
Loxley even still looks like he's sore, to say the least, but he keeps playing.
Yeah, not everybody can play football. It's a tough sport, and looks like there was a right hook there by somebody.
Beatty on top there and Sutton underneath, so no, he didn't quite get it. Loxley staying in, it's 3rd and inches. And it looks like he should have enough push there. Did not need much to keep this drive going for Edmonton. down within a touchdown, 31-25. They've made it a game. Like they did a few weeks ago at Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton when it looked like the Ticats had it.
Loxley's just gutting it out, man. He's just gutting it out right now. I can see after every play. Cornelius back in on first down. And yeah, one possession, anybody's game.
From the Edmonton 33, Cornelius gets it away. Incomplete. Kenny Lawler covered there by Najee Murray.
Mike Alway's getting more playing time. He was picked up after he got released. He's right in the middle here. He's showing blitz and then goes like this. And Taylor Cornelius has to wait for his receiver to clear through Alway, and the timing is just off because of it.
Another injured Elk, David Foucault, ex-Alouette, heading off slowly. Chocha, well, he's the coach tonight. He's also the general manager and made an interesting deal, didn't he?
Yeah, acquired the rights to Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, and we know who he is, a former Kansas City Chief, Super Bowl champion, who decided not to go back and play in the 2020 season in the NFL so that he could stay. He also is a graduate of medical school here at McGill University. So interesting. He was in the building at some point tonight, and we can't find him, but he is somewhere here. The Alouettes have his rights. Nothing is locked down yet, but that would be a nice signing.
2nd and 10. Sewell almost gets Cornelius. He gets away. Still on his feet with time. Finds a receiver, completes it. What a play by Taylor Cornelius, and the first catch for Edmonton's Mike Jones in this game, and a big first down for the Elks.
Well, this is a play we see quarterbacks in our league do all the time, but not the ones that are 6'5", 232 pounds. There's some magic here. Fights off that tackle. How about the sense of urgency at the third quarter break? Talked about the opportunity for Taylor Cornelius. He's looking on this play like he wants to take full advantage of this opportunity and bring his team back. I mean, that's magic. That looked a little like Zach. What was Zach Collaros like? By the way, that's just a heavyweight match coming up.
There you go.
Calgary and Winnipeg.
Yeah, coming up Friday Night Football, the unbeatens. But Cornelius, you're right, making the most of his chances, and Loxley getting help off the field again. We've seen this scene earlier in the half, and he did come back, including scoring another touchdown, but not looking too good right now as this drive continues after some brilliance to get out of the pocket there by Cornelius and complete the pass.
Nick Arbuckle is now back in Ottawa. Trey Ford injured. If you're just joining us, it's been Taylor Cornelius, third quarterback in now the 6th game for the Edmonton Elks. He's got a chance to drive the field and put his team ahead.
Had one win last year as a starter. Started 8 games. Trying to engineer a win here. Here's a deep ball as he steps up. And Rodney Randall runs into Kenny Lawler. Or Wesley Sutton, excuse me. This would be the 3rd PI call against Sutton, as Lawler was trying to come back to the ball and Sutton got in his way.
Montreal, number 37. Interference, number 37. It's going to be first down for Edmonton.
Yeah, you know, when each one of these interference calls, you go back and look at them, and there is pass interference. I mean, this is not, I know Montreal fans don't want to hear it, but bottom line is you can't go through the receiver without looking at the ball. I mean, that was early contact. Watch Sutton. I mean, that would be in the football dictionary as pass interference.
Yeah.
Here's your example of what it really looks like.
50-yard penalty. Cornelius to the end zone. Kenny Lawler, touchdown, Edmonton, ties the game, and a point after try from leading it.
Well, he throws a dart, first of all, Taylor Cornelius, and then how about Kenny Lawler with his right hand on the ball just to make sure the official knows that he's got possession and that he's in the end zone. Take a quick look as they get ready for this extra point, but a dart, tight spiral over the middle. Watch Lawler. He's got it, but he wants to make sure the officials know he's got it. And here he goes. He goes, here, this is super slow-mo, and he goes, here we go, I got it. Look. Boy, he and Sutton have been battling all night long. They're going to review that to make sure that he, in fact, did have it. Did he use the ground? But and they are reviewing it. When you saw Chris Jones, he was saying, hurry up, kick the extra point, so they can't take another hard look at it. Because let's see if the tip of that ball did touch the turf. Can't use the ground to help you in these catches. It's hard to tell from that angle. I don't think there's anything there that would overturn it.
So another touchdown, one play after. A pass interference call and a big one to Wesley Sutton, who's having a nightmare up against Kenny Lawler tonight.
And based on the fact that they kicked the extra point, they did review it in real time. They review every touchdown or potential touchdown, determined that he did make the catch, arm underneath the ball, and then showed it to the official.
So that point after by Castillo has given Edmonton the lead for the first time since the first half. They had a 6-0, then 6-3 lead. That's been mostly Montreal after that. But back comes Edmonton in the second half at 1 point down by 19. They lead it by 1.
What a battle between Wesley Sutton and Kenny Lawler. I mean, whether it's been in zone looks where it becomes man when Lawler gets to Sutton's zone. A couple of PI calls by Wesley Sutton drawn by Lawler, and that's why he was the #1 free agent signing.
Three big pass interference calls leading to 3 Edmonton touchdowns. Matt Mengel to kick off. And Edmonton, 4:08 on the clock, has the 1-point lead here in Montreal. Both of these teams looking for their second wins of the season. Tyson Philpott on the return.
You know, the Alouettes had a comfortable lead going in at halftime. They felt pretty good about what they were doing, and then in the second half, just lack of concentration at certain times, some penalties. A couple from Wesley Sutton and pass interference that were big yardage penalties. Here's another one that was challenged, and Danny Machocha lost the challenge, and just like that, and again, in the Canadian Football League, as you know, it can turn so quickly. Edmonton now has a lead.
So here's Montreal and Jess Renantwi. Right side, across the 40.
Real
flag
late,
comes.
real late flag there.
Yeah, it comes out awfully late after that hit.
Illegal low block. Bloc sous la ceinture illégale. Montreal number 38, number 38. It's a 10-yard penalty. We'll replay first down.
The fullback, Christophe Normand, called for an illegal block and a 10-yard penalty to push the Alouettes further back.
I think it's on Adam Konar. Yeah, you can't. Got to stay up.
.193 penalty yards against the Alouettes. Harris to Antrim. Eludes a tackle and picks up about 5 more yards after the catch. As the clock ticks down to 3 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. They'll run this play before the warning.
Pretty important play, yeah.
Yeah, what a finish we've got going here in a 2nd and 9. Montreal 38. Harris gets it away to Lewis. Shy of a first down. Be 3rd and about 3 after that. 2:40 on the clock. The 3-minute warning is given, and the Alouettes are suddenly in desperate straits. And the Alouettes have to punt it away with about 2.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Oh, it's bobbled. Nelson jumps on it after it went off his chest, and there's a big break for the Elks after Nelson nearly coughed it up back to the Alouettes.
Wow. Wow, that, you know, this is where it gets tense, obviously, and looks good here, looks good, a little bit high, and it is a live ball. No yards, no longer part of the equation once it touches the returner.
After a 47-yard punt by Zima, and so Edmonton gets the ball around their 26.
I love how Chris Jones didn't want to hear the explanation. He just said, just go stand over there.
That's it.
Don't drop the ball.
Other things on his mind right now, too. Cornelius quickly handing off to Beatty. Right side, has room. Gets over 5 yards on that carry. Sherman Beatty. Call it a gain of 6. Beatty, the main running back now after the injury to James Wilder 3 weeks ago. And speaking of injuries, he is slow to get up.
Take a look at that, but that's a big run on first down. Gives Taylor Cornelius lots of options on 2nd and 3 because now the time is the enemy for the Alouettes. A little bit of incidental helmet contact, I think, that may be the issue here. And the spotter here would pull him off the field anyway. It looks like he'll be okay.
But heading off, Ante Milanovic-Litre is in there, number 34 for Edmonton.
This feels like it's Manny time. Time for the Manny show for Edmonton.
It's been quiet for Manny. 1 catch for 12 yards back in the first half. There's Milanovic-Litre. Had some good years with the Stamps. A fullback. He's been running back too. And he's back there with Cornelius, who throws, completes it. And that was on a 2nd and 4 too. So Lawler has had a busy night, picks up a big first down for Edmonton.
Yeah, although when I say that it's Manny time because he's such a big target and can block out so well, I mean, why would you go away from this formula? Kenny Lawler, and looks like they've made it. Well, that was to the wide field. That's why it was Najee Murray instead of Wesley Sutton.
Well, speaking of which, that's his 6th catch, but remember the 3 pass interference calls, all intended for him.
Exactly.
Big yardage there. Milanovic-Litre bowls his way on first down across the Edmonton 40 and gains 4 more yards. 2nd down, 1:37 on the clock. We got a 1-point game. A big 2nd down coming up here.
Well, this is it, really. I mean, you get the first down here. Noel Thorpe's got to load the line of scrimmage, and whether it's pass or run, send the house. If you ask me, I mean, no time to give any room for quick throws here.
Noel Thorpe, the new defensive coordinator, a job he's held before with Montreal after Baron Miles was let go, along with Kahari Jones. And a timeout taken by the Elks at this critical point. A 6 and a 6.
Timeout, Thomas.
They had to. They were running out of time on the 22nd clock. But yeah, this is the game. I mean, conversion here. Even if they go a quick 2 downs and have to punt it, you're basically giving the ball back to Montreal unless Chandler Worthy has some sort of miracle. You're giving the ball back to Montreal with probably 10, 15 seconds left.
Neither team has a timeout left. You think the Elks were embarrassed in BC in week 1, lost a closer one at home to Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
They were embarrassed last week by Calgary. A 1-4 record coming in. They did have that big comeback victory in Hamilton. Going for win number 2 here. 2nd and 6, Cornelius. A lower pass, Lawler again right around the first down marker. Needed 6 yards. See where they spot it.
Big game for Lawler. I mean, we saw him in Edmonton in a losing effort against Saskatchewan have a big game. A couple of really nice catches, but this is his best game of the 22 campaign for the Elks, and because this is low and away, and this is crucial. This is a game on the line time. And look at 89 get his hands underneath that right at the marker.
Third down, less than a yard. And on the keeper, Cornelius in there in short yardage with Loxley hurt. And the big QB looks like he has enough. As he signals, he certainly does think so. It was less than a yard, indeed they do. The drive continues with under a minute to go.
That guy you just saw, Kyle Loxley, an important part of this comeback as well. And, you know, the fourth quarter between the two of them, Loxley on short yardage and some plays as a receiver, but the urgency and the opportunity seized by Taylor Cornelius. Good for him.
48 seconds. What a comeback by Edmonton. Not over yet, but getting close. Milanovic-Litre hanging on to the ball, getting up in midfield. And you know what I think about now? Late in that first half, when it looked like the Alouettes were going to go up 3 more.
Yeah.
The interception by Konar, 3 more on the board for Edmonton to make it a 12-point game.
Yeah, and that was that little bump of momentum. And then they picked up the momentum in the second half. Still down 2 possessions, didn't panic, stuck with it. Some mistakes, some lack of concentration, a couple of bad penalties on defense. And the comeback complete.
Victory formation, Cornelius. What a moment for him. Left in the practice roster after getting a chance last year. The 3rd quarterback to start for the Elks in just 6 games this year. He gets to step in. And as the clock winds down, Edmonton's about to officially get its 2nd victory.
For every player, whether you're playing quarterback or any other position, year 2 is so much different, so much more comfortable in year 2 than year 1. Seen the improvements in Taylor Cornelius's game, especially this second half.
Another comeback by Chris Jones's Edmonton Elks. Another comeback victory. They had won earlier in Hamilton. They have won tonight in Montreal. The Alouettes looked like they had this early in the 3rd quarter, leading by as many as 19, but Cornelius, some big interference calls, let's face it, certainly helped out. But Edmonton came all the way back, and they've improved their record to 2-4. The Alouettes falling to 1-4. In the East,